evening, guys. We welcome to Kaleidoscope Evening with Gelda. Today, me and Pen Wonders International Group proudly present you one of our talented members, the poetess Manimala Chatterjee. Manimala was born in 9th February in the steel city Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, India. Presently, she is living in Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. Occupation: homemaker, ethical writer, poet, reviewer, and translator. Education: graduation in statistics from BHU, Banaras. Post-graduation in applied mathematics from Jadavpur University, Calcutta, and in economics from IDNO, B.Ed from SNDT University, Mumbai. Writing mode: English, Hindi, and Bengali, her mother tongue. Published books: English anthology with Oxygen Pen, Hindi and English anthology with Realm of Poems to be published, Hindi, English, and Bengali poems and ethicals in the magazines from Calcutta and Jamshedpur. And awards: Poetess of the Month of October in Realm of Poems, live studio recitals of the best poems at Kavya Ki Sartaj Manch, Chetna Manch, and Kalamantan Manch. Won Best Poem Awards in many online competitions in social medias. Was some indeed. Well, let's start our interview, poetess. Dear Manimala, when was poetry present in your life?
Hello everyone, I am Manimala Chatterjee from India. At first, I deliver my heartfelt thanks to Pain Wonders International and the respected admins, Mr. Pramod Gangadharan and Saroji Krishnamurthy ma'am, Loy Monroe ma'am, and last but not the least, Gelda ma'am, for providing me the opportunity to say about myself on this international platform of literature. Poetry was present in my life since childhood. As I am from India, I studied three languages: English, Hindi, the national language, and Bengali, my mother tongue. Read lots of poems on these three languages as the syllabus permitted, and also from various newspapers, magazines, special editions of the magazines. Now, as a child, the nonsense verses and the lullabies are common to be sung and recited by the elders to the children in India. So, the sense of poetry was instilled in my mind since childhood. Due to some reasons, there was a gap in writing poetry for a long time. Education, marriage, the family. I've started writing seriously again since last 2 years.
What poetry means for you?
Well, poetry means the expression of life to me, the expression of inner feelings, the expression of thoughts, the expression of experiences, whatever happens around us. Normally, we cannot express many things verbally or through direct communication. So we went out all those feelings of ours through poetry. So poetry is expression of life only. There's one famous saying by Oscar Wilde that to live is the most rarest thing in the world. Most people just exist. So I also believe in this. To live properly means to express yourself properly to people and to express your thoughts, views, and your knowledge properly to people can make you a proper living human being. There's another famous saying by another poetess, Maya Angelou. She said, "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." So, poetry is also a means to say the untold stories that are kept inside you locked. So, it's a way to unlock your mind too.
With poetic style do you prefer to write?
I like to write through different poetic styles like the sonnets, the Pendari codes, both sonnets, both Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnets, then haiku sonnets, haiku, tanka, then gardenless, monotetra, abecedarian poems, harrison, teja rima. I've tried all these styles, but easiest I find to express myself through free verse. Mostly I like to write in free verse with the rhyming ending. So this is my way of writing, but I'll always like to learn as many as poetic form as possible. Thank you.
Please cite an ancient and a contemporary poet who inspires you the most in the construction of your poems.
I get inspired by many poems and poets of the antiquity like Alexander Pope, William Wordsworth, William Shakespeare, John Donne, P.B. Shelley, John Keats, and many others. But I like to recite 4 lines from the famous poem Ode on Solitude by Alexander Pope. Thus let me live, unseen, unknown, thus unlamented let me die, still from the world, and not a stone tell where I lie. This is one of the very liked poem by me. I liked it a lot. Now, P.B. Shelley is one of the 4 lines from a poem of P.B. Shelley. Life may change, but it may fly not. Hope may vanish, but can die not. Truth be veiled, but still it burneth. Love repulsed, but it returneth. So these are the poets whose lines inspire me a lot. Among the modern day poets, I like the poems by Emily Dickinson a lot. There's a short poem by Emily Dickinson that is Faith. I'll just recite 4 lines of that poem. Faith is the peerless bridge supporting what we see unto the sense that we do not, too slender for the eye. Then another 4 liner is faith is a fine invention for gentlemen who see, but microscopes are prudent in an emergency. These are very inspiring lines. Then the poem I Felt Funeral in My Brain, The Hope by Emily Dickinson. I like them a lot. Then another modern poet, James Mercer Langston Hughes, whose poem The Negro Speaks of Rivers I like very much. The 4 lines of the poem I have known rivers, I have known rivers ancient as the world.
If I say that poetry can adapt everything into it, do you agree? Please, could you state an example?
Yes, I think poetry can adapt to everything around us, be it political, be it social, be it the surrounding milieu of at different instants of time, the emotional parts, the nature's beauty of the nature, the different aspects of the nature, the philosophical side, the aesthetic side. Poetry can adapt to each and everything, and a poet can express his views through these different poetic forms about everything around us. And so poets are generally referred to as seers.
Poetess, in your point of view, does a poet need to have an academic education, or is it possible to write empirically?
I think yes, a poet needs to have some amount of academic education because without education, the proper expressions of feelings and thoughts is not very easy, especially the language in which the poet is trying to express himself or herself should be very well known to the poet. Now, academic education also gives a chance to read a lot. So, without reading the previous poets or the history or the special situations, political, then religious, and the aesthetic and the spiritual, the poet cannot have in depth knowledge that they require to write a good poetry. Apart from that, without much academic education, also one can write, but that will not reflect a very well balanced, that may not reflect a very well balanced thought in poetry. But another example, a very good example, is poet Rabindranath Tagore, who didn't have any proper academic education, but he was a very good poet. It also happened because he belonged to a family where culture was at the top. Excellence of the cultural experience was at the top. Everybody in the family was involved in very many performing arts and very cultural. They were very much culturally oriented. So at times there are exceptional cases where academic education without even the school, college or university education, people were able to write very good.
What advice would you like to give for those who are starting in the field of poetry?
My inspiration to the new poets who are writing is that they should continue writing in different poetic forms, different expressions, and they should read a lot, especially the masters. I am also a new writer only. I am not writing for a long time, but in my 2 year stint of continuous writing, what I have experienced that apart from writing, reading good poetries, reading good poets, and reading good literature is very important.
Where do you usually looking for inspiration to write?
I usually look towards nature for the inspiration of my poems. Apart from nature, I also like to gather inspirations from human relations, the beauty of the nature and the changes in human mind with the seasonal changes in the nature, the emotions, different aspects of philosophy and spirituality, etc. I I'm a nature loving person, so I like to concentrate my thoughts on the beauty of nature in my poems.
And now, finalizing our interview moment, kindly, could you recite a poem of yours for all of us now, please?
I like to recite one poem based on nature for you. This is written in the poetic form Villanelle, and the title of the poem is Nature's the Puppeteer. Autumn's full moon, the azurous delight, the zephyr's dance enchants my inner mind. Blissful nature's the puppeteer spills light. Autumn's full moon, the azurous delight, the zephyr's dance enchants my inner mind. Blissful nature's the puppeteer spills light. I am the puppet of the nature's pure sight. Elixir for me, its charm my heart finds. Autumn's full moon, the azurous delight. Divine love of God pours luminous light. His invisible hands through nature binds. Blissful nature's the puppeteer spills light. The angelic grace of the flowers bright, rainbow colors and perfumes fill my mind. Autumn's full moon, the azurous delight. Emotions are good and pure without blight. Like a blooming flower opens my mind. Blissful nature's the puppeteer spills light. The string of destiny controls life's flight. Like a puppet, I follow nature's strides. Autumn's full moon, the azurous delight.
Wow! It was really an amazing moment of interview. I'm grateful for you, dearest. And you guys, I'm looking to see you for the next Sunday, okay? Stay well.